Gunther Wein joined the Luftwaffe and volunteered for paratrooper training. He saw action in the Netherlands in 1944 until he was captured by the British near Arnhem. In this extract from his interview, Gunther describes the moment of his capture.
My capture? Yeah, well, yes. The least said about that, the better. When we were withdrawn and we had to stay behind as a rear guard, that thin, there was only one of us every 50 or 100 yards. I was one machine gun. The next bloke, a mate of mine, was at least between 50 or 100 metres away from me. Early morning, about 6 o'clock-ish in the morning, we heard this thundering roar, preceded by what appeared to be Scheinwerfer, searchlights, pointed directly at the sky and lighting the surrounding area. Very eerie light it was, and they laid a barrage down about 100 metres behind our position on a railway line. And then the order to withdraw came for us. But in the meantime, some tanks had arrived. British tanks came trailing along the road, quite unconcerned as though we simply didn't exist. So we ran along the trench, met some more of our compatriots, and went to the nearest village and hid in an orchard for the rest of the day. Went back to our position at night and decided to go into a small Christmas tree nursery, and we hid in there. We were only about 200 metres away from that main road when a convoy of army trucks, British army trucks, pulled off the main road, came along the field track and ended up 50 metres away from where we were hiding. And it was a British soldier who wanted to follow the call of nature, walk towards the trees where we were hiding, and started to undo his trousers. In a loud whisper said to the others, stay down, stay down. But one of them went, got up, panicked and went. Because that was it. The British soldier saw him, shouted on top of his voice something like, there's some bloody Jerry's about. That was it. I crawled away as fast as I could. I dropped down into a ditch and I thought I'd got away from them, until I heard the far too close for comfort clatter of a stem gun, the machine pistol. The second burst was that close that I decided this was it, I better get up. And that was the end of my career. Well, when the British soldiers and the British sergeant, sorted me out and checked that I wasn't any longer dangerous, they marched me away to the convoy where they were all having tea and sandwiches. They sat me down, but I had to keep my hands behind my head. I was interviewed by a British officer who arrived in the jeep, who only wanted to know my name, rank and number. They took me back to the British soldiers. I was just sat there, and suddenly a British soldier came with a steaming mug of tea and a thick corned beef sandwich. If the British treat their prisoners like this, they can't be as bad as they are made out to be. And progressively, as I went through my captivity, we were treated with respect, humanely. We were treated like soldiers, not like rabble, in other words. And throughout we were treated with respect. I virtually realized I've not been fighting for Germany, I've been fighting for the Nazis and for Hitler and their ambitions, not to defend my country. It is as simple as that. Well, the SS troops, they are still fanatical. They felt Germany was still winning. I didn't believe that for 1 minute anymore. I heard ordinary infantrymen who had been in Russia telling me a different story altogether, and I was convinced that Germany was going to lose the war, but I became convinced that I'd been fighting for the wrong cause. I began to learn what democracy meant and what it was. Freedom of expression, freedom of thought, being able to say what you think, being free, self-disciplined but free.
Please help to rescue and preserve more memories of the Second World War. visit www.war-experience.org.